Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the URC and another South African derby. You've heard me say that quite a bit lately, but that seems to be the only matches that we've got for the URC involving South African sides. This one, the Lions taking on the Sharks. Now, these two sides will be playing next week as well, so a nice little prelim to that game in a little miniature two-match series, I guess you could say, for the United Rugby Championship. This is the way that the table sits currently. This is, of course, another match that they are trying to catch up on from earlier on in the competition, but both of these sides have played 10 matches, sitting in very different positions on the board. Sharks sitting in 4th, Lions sitting in 4th last. But with a win here for the Lions at home, that would certainly boost them towards that top 8 contention, but they have got a strong Sharks side in front of them. We'll be definitely looking for the win if they can get it right. But looking through at the starting lineup, first of all for the Lions, it is going to be Schoeman in the front row alongside PJ Borte and Nalabakanye in that number 3 jersey, Ruben Schoeman as the 4 and Landsberg as number 5. JC Pretorius comes back into the starting side. He will be there at 6. Ruan Fenta 7 and Frank Horn as the number 8. Morne Vandenberg and Lombard as the 9-10. Marius Lowe and Manuel Ras in the middle of the park, and then Edward van der Merwe, Richard Creel, and then Mafura as the number 15. No Kjuan Horn in the starting lineup here. And once again, that injury list just continues to grow for these South African sides. Looking through at the lineup for the Sharks, Ntutuko Machuno at 1, Bongiam Benambi at 2, and Rea as the tight head prop, Slabbert and Jason Jenkins in the locking duo, Mavaseri at 6, Vincent Tsuka 7, and Pepsi Butalazy will slot in as the number 8, Jaden Hendrickse and Sia Masuku, so a very handy combo, perhaps one that we could see in future for the Springboks. Lukanyuam alongside Julius in the middle, and then Ethan Hooker, Yapinka, and Jordan Hendrickse at number 15. Now, looking through at these two sides, some would say that the Sharks backline has got a clear advantage, but the way that the Lions have been playing throughout their season, yes, they are, like I said, in 4th last at the moment, but they have got a huge amount of potential that if they can find their flow early, you know, there's been times that they've had 3 tries on the ball by 15 minutes when they've gotten it right, but it's just whether or not they can do that same thing up against this Sharks team. Looking through at the comments, we have got there, g'day guys. Hope for a great game and a whopping win for the Sharks, says Neville, and g'day Hamish. Just thought I'd drop in before I collapse into my bed. Did you get any sleep before the stream, says James? Maybe like an hour, I would say, if I was lucky, so it wasn't too bad. Overall, what time are they playing, says Carl? They are going to be playing in 7 minutes' time, so we are extremely close to the start of this contest. And then, just in case one South African derby wasn't enough, we've got another one taking place straight after. That will be Stormers versus the Bulls, and that one kicks off in about about 2 hours, 36 minutes when that one will be starting up. To all those who do not support the Sharks, may you all have a wonderful something day, says Neville, and Lions to Raw. Sharkies ripping through, who knows? And fun fact, the Chiefs in all 3 rounds have had the biggest points differential of any average, or with an average of 17 points more than their opposition, says Novmum. Well, sounds like they've come out the gates firing, but let's see what happens as the season progresses. Of course, the Chiefs at the moment looking very good, but those playoff games, they're always the one that everyone looks forward to because it can change in an instant, and a side that have found such a rhythm before it can all of a sudden disappear. What up, Hamish, says Cameron K. Welcome in. And hi all. We'll check in now and then. Still at work. Hope all is well with all, says Jean in there too. And I'm at my local pub watching the big screen TV, says Ruth. Yeah, this game is certainly going to be an entertaining one involving, like I said, 2 South African sides. Those derbies are coming thick and fast, and that is exactly what will happen next week as well for the Lions. They are going to be playing up against the Sharks, and then in 3 weeks' time, we see the URC kick back off into full effect. That is after the Six Nations, but of course, after that Glasgow game for the Lions, we then get back into the Challenge Cup. So then that is something else to look forward to that does separate the competition that a little bit more for the Sharks. They have got that game up against the Lions, then they will be playing Zebre and then Leinster in 28 days' time. That is definitely one to watch out for. We will be commentating it on the channel too. The recent games for these two sides, these are all of the matches that they played throughout February. So it's been a very stop-start kind of competition, but 2 matches for the Lions up against South African sides. They won their first one up against the Stormers, but did lose to the Bulls, whereas the Bulls were beaten by the Sharks, who have only had one fixture throughout the last about 28 days. So they'll be certainly looking forward to more game time as we head towards the end of March. But in the chat, we have got the hi everyone and Hamish. I hope all as well. I'm excited for this game. Let's go the Sharks. Says Lilia B, and Sharks win by 15 points. How's the construction work going, mate? Says James. It hasn't been too bad. Very busy at this time of the year, of course, but yeah, we still managed to squeeze in just enough time to record some Rugby 25. As some of you will know, that game recently came out. We've been doing a Hurricanes career mode, but we've got plenty more teams that we are going to be following along with in the near future. And hey, mate, South African qualified for the semi-final of the Champions Trophy. Says LFG. So they must have got the win over England, or they're still playing, aren't they? Unless that game got rained off. 107. Oh, yeah, no, they have. There's no way I believe that they can lose bad enough that they wouldn't qualify. So, yeah, big congratulations to South Africa. They might find themselves up against New Zealand just around the corner, which will be a very intriguing game, definitely because those two sides did play in the Tri-Nations that was recent. But there is a part of me that kind of hopes that we get to see, you know, New Zealand, South Africa as a final. That would be pretty cool, cricket-wise. And we would definitely have to cover that one on the channel if that was the case. Howdy, Alpha Males. What an awesome day. Says Juan Pierre Bosch. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. We will quickly look through at the benches as we are only 3 minutes away or so from the kickoff of this match. Visachi, once again there in that number 16 jersey for the Lions. Kutsia and Skurman as the other two front row replacements. They have got Homa, they've got Delport, Nico Stain, Kens, and Yonka. Now, these guys will come into effect relatively early into the contest. Like I said, so many injuries have happened throughout this URC season, and they continue to get worse. Oh, speaking of worse, this weather doesn't look the best. Unless, of course, it is just the really high angle that we're dealing with. But the clouds in the background, it's looking a little bit wet for this game. I could be wrong, though. We will soon get the weather report. For the Sharks, they have got Sia Khaleesi to come off the bench. Grant Williams the same. Francois Fenter, Edouard Keita, and Vincent Cox. So a lot of Springbok strength to make their way off of the bench later on in this matchup. We have got the Unleash England. Put on a fantastic bowling performance. The Proteas have this one, says Lilia B. And it's wet, says Juan Pierre Bosch. Yeah, it does look a little bit overcast and a bit ugly, I think you'd say, for the weather conditions. We all face New Zealand in the semi-finals, says Kwandele. There's the potential, but it does, of course, depend on what happens between India and New Zealand. There we go. Precipitation, 20%. Humidity is 60%, so a little bit of light rain later on is just the report that they've given. We have their morning Kiwi lads. 1:29 a.m. New Zealand time. Lions for Miami, says Spider Mick. And we have got, I think the Lions will edge this one, says Kwandele. Do you mind saying the starting lineup for the two teams? Once again, you've missed it by only a couple minutes, but we'll go through them again. In fact, first of all, we'll go like this. There you go for the Lions. It is Skurman, PJ Botte, and Nalabakanye in that number 3 jersey. And the locking duo, it is Skurman alongside Landsberg. Oh. Okay, Yako Williams comes in for the Sharks off the bench due to Edouard Keita not being available for this match as a late change. But JC Pretorius in that 6 jersey, Ruan Finter and Frank Horn as the 8, Monet van den Berg alongside Lombard, Marius Lowe and Manuel Ras in the middle, and then Edward van der Merwe, Richard Creel and Mafura at number 15. In terms of that Sharks starting lineup, it will be Untatuku Machuno, Bongion Banambi and Ruan Dreyer, Slabbert and Jason Jenkins in the locking duo, Mavaseri, Vincent Tuchuka and also Pepsi Buthelezi as the number 8, Jaden Hendrickse and Sia Masuku. I've just said about Van Wyk being unavailable for this match. There are a lot of guys out at the moment. And Lokanyo Arm, Julius in the midfield, Ethan Hooker, Yapinka, and number 15 as Jordan Hendrickse. The Sharks seem really worried about Eben's injury. Yeah, although some people last week were trying to tell us it was just Rassie playing mind games by resting him for so long. But yeah, I hope that Eben will be back for international rugby. It's not looking that good at the moment, which is a massive shame. We've already seen Stephen Kitsoff hang up the boots in recent times. We've seen Brock Harris even say he is done. Kean Healy, there's a lot of veterans of the game at the moment reaching their final matches. And Evan Netzebeth, he's still got a few years in him if he can avoid those injuries. But unfortunately, it's one of those ones that a concussion is a really ugly injury that unless you're going through the symptoms yourself, you don't necessarily fully understand. Like, even from what I've heard, he is now back in the training space, but we don't know what's happening after that. We don't know whether or not he's going home with a throbbing headache and a whole heap of other problems. So, yeah, I do hope he's going to be all right. And morning to you from Aotearoa, says Spider Mick. And those boots are made for walking, and that's what walking it will do. And these boosts will walk all over you, says Juan Pierre. I'm not too sure who you're talking about, whether or not that is for the Lions or the Sharks, but I like the mindset. He's been training with the Sharks for 2 weeks now. That's a good sign, says Lilia B. It is in some regards, yes, but at the same time, if there's something else, are they... they'll be keeping a lightning close eye on him, I would think, just in case. That's far away from me, other side of the world. Says Roof, but it is going to be the Sharks kicking off this one from left to right. And we are just about underway for yet again another match of the URC, South Africa versus South Africa. It is a trend that is happening. And that one goes out on the full. A little bit too much on it from Sia Masuku, and already there's going to be the turnover within 15 seconds of this contest. And it's going to be the scrum as the call here. Do let me know, of course, who you guys think will be the first player to score a try in this contest. Hamish, you're looking absolutely cool again. We have there for the viewers, Sharks play Lions again next weekend. That is exactly the case. We did pop it up earlier on where we did show their next game. So they haven't got a game the week after that one. And then they're straight back into the URC action in about 20 days' time. Of course, one more derby. No game for the Bulls or the Stormers next week either, as we did mention. But Morne Vandenberg is going to be feeding this ball in. I cannot stand correct, but Trevor Nakania also announced his retirement after tearing his Achilles. Yeah, there's been a lot of props that have gone down this week. In fact, it's mainly been props that have been announcing retirements. Now looking for the 50-22. That's out on the full too. Okay, both sides within the first minute and a half of this game have decided to kick this ball out where they shouldn't. So now it's going to be the line out here for the Sharks around the halfway line. Cape Town, lovely mild day. Good for rugby, says Ruth. Now ready to throw this ball in. Jason Jenkins, he's going to be expected a big game of him. And that injury list for the Sharks, no Gerbra Robela. Even Smith, he is out as well. Corne Ral, I think he's dealing with a bit of an injury too. The list does go on. Nice rolling maul, though. Sitting about 45 metres out. Sharks win by 10. First try for Pepsi Butalezi. And how's it, Hamish, brother? How you doing, mate? It's been a while, says Birdie V. It is great to have you back, Birdie. Doing well. Hopefully you are as well. Have you moved to New Zealand yet, or are you still in that process of making your way over? Do let me know. Peter Steff is also not looking too good. Haven't played in a while after surgery. Here's Cameron. Yeah, see, he's another one that they won't rush him back because they'll know that his main job is international rugby. Yes, he'd love to be able to play in the Japanese competition, but at the same time, I think they'll be definitely making sure he's all right for those international games. Nicely taken to the back by Mathura. And now the ball is going to be there for the Lions to start running this one forward. Good attack and run from Ruben Skurman. Now Lombard goes across to Marius Lowe, passes on the outside, Manuel Ras. Peter Steff's been in and out of surgery his whole life. Maybe also time to hang it up, says Wemar. But then there's the guys like that who, yes, they might be close to hanging it up, but they want that third World Cup in a row. Something that I don't think will ever be replicated, or at least there will be a very long time till someone can do it. So, to be a guy, that's a great kick from Hendricks, curving towards that touchline. Nicely done by Mathura, keeping the ball alive, but that was almost a 50-22. It was kicked from inside of Jordan Hendricks' 22. And come on, the Sharks, says Jamie. Now, Jaden Hendrickse goes across to Yapenka. Inside ball, back to Hendrickse, Lucanio arm. It is a stacked backline for the Sharks, considering that they don't have Ipalele Fassi. They have Williams off the bench. No Andre Hayes in. Good steal there in the breakdown from the Lions. Ford's not quite doing the job that time. Now back into the pocket. PJ Borta gets it back. This is going to be a 50-22 attempt. It's going to be close to the sideline. Well cleaned up by Maveseri. Be dragged down only 10 metres out from his try line. Looking for the counter ruck there from the Lions. Great work from Vincent Tichuca to keep it on the side of the Sharks, but it was not easy. And already this turf has been completely shredded underfoot. In fact, I don't think I've seen, well, not for a little while anyway. The pitch is getting absolutely dismantled. Even just walking, it looks like they're ripping it up a little bit. Doing well, mate, still in the process. I think we're in the last leg of the process, says Birdie. Very long process, isn't it? I believe you've been a regular viewer of the channel for a good few years, and the whole time you've been going through the steps. Hopefully very soon you'll be able to head to New Zealand. See South African rugby players have the best of both worlds. They almost play all major club rugby competitions, whereas the rest of the world don't have their players in every club across the world. See, here's Cameron Kay. Yeah, so they get plenty of inside scoop, don't they? In terms of those locations, different schedules, different, I guess, exertion levels, depending on the comp you're in. Japan still gets that reputation of slightly easier on the body, but still a fair share of injuries. AI Google check. Peter Steph Toy expected to be ready to train again at the end of May, hopefully, says Robert. And now that's going to be a good attempt at stealing from Jaden Hendricks. I wasn't able to get it. Now PJ Borta going on the outside. Marga slow skip pass nicely to Mafuru, who's got plenty of pace. Puts it in behind. Bit of a foot race here, but well cleaned up by Yapenka, getting wrestled into touch. And that is some great work from the Lions. Massive territory gain. Sharks have brought Nskata into Benny on loan as a hooker cover, says Lilia B. And greetings, Irish, go, you black and white, says Graham. So make an attack for the third World Cup. They have the best chance since New Zealand, in all honesty. I thought New Zealand would do it, but age caught up to them, says Cameron Kay. But like, you know, any of those guys who are in there, you know, the likes of, the thing is, they've got Etzebeth, they've got, there's a list of probably about 15 that won that 2019 World Cup that can still just about make it to that next World Cup, and that's a 12-year cycle that they'll have to be involved in. So, well, it's closer to 8 years, isn't it? What a run that is. That was very close to the try line. Now, Monet Vandenberg looking both ways, gives it off to PJ Borta, who is flattened out over the line, and the home side are in first. Hey, it's been crazy. Our docs have been lost, then found. We are getting there, brother, says Birdie V. Beautifully done by the Lions. PJ Borta, the man who does score the first try of this contest. I don't think many people would have been picking him to get the very first one. And the second try for him, Nalabachanye was within inches of being able to reach out and touch that try line, but just not quite for the big man. Also, they lost Makoa Carter Nonu, so many of their best in 2019. So that would have been impressive if they could do it, says Cameron Kay. And yeah, I feel like, you know, the Springboks in some regards were still 2 and a bit years away, so they will lose some of their main big guys. But the good news is they've also got such a wealth of talent coming through the ranks. You know, you look at some of the young guys around. Sasha Feinberg, Ngome Zulu, Apelele Fasi, he's starting to really find his own. It wasn't that long ago that some people were trying to say that maybe he shouldn't even be in the Springboks kit. And you look at someone even like a Jesse Creel. There's been that roller coaster of a career for him. About 3 years ago, people were kicking him out, and now, like, he's playing every minute for the Springboks throughout a competition. Now, big attack and run forward for the Lions, and Ruan Finta. Monet Vandenberg inside of the 22. And does create a bit of an angle for himself. Does get it into touch. It's going to be a line out for the Sharks again. Come on, Lions, roar, says Ruth. And let's go the Lions, says LFG. And hey, mate, says Charles. Welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing extremely well. We've got 2 matches back-to-back today. The next one taking place, the Bulls and the Stormers. That's going to be kicking off in only 2 hours, 20 minutes time. So it's all-out rugby for the evening. Okay, they're just saying there that there is going to be a little bit more rain here. And, yep, you can see a big drops. And that's going to be overthrown by Bongi Umbanambi. Well, dropped by PJ Abota. We're going to see a lot more of that now that the rain is falling. Feinberg has done. He ruined his own career. He's injury prone now. Levok career is over. His injury is bad. He will not be the same ever again, says Cameron Kay. And the biggest thing for Sasha Feinberg, I think, is the fact that some of his injuries aren't even, they're not connected. Like, it will be a shoulder and then it's the knee. And when you start picking up little knocks as a player when you are younger, and that's why some of these guys who are so young, when they get a couple head knocks, they're almost, on the back foot from the get-go. You get 2 surgeries or 3 surgeries by the time you're 23, and you're starting to get held together by screws and nails, before you even reach 25. And unfortunately, that is just the reality of playing rugby. The players are getting faster, they're hitting harder, and the injuries are forever increasing. I was watching the cricket, South Africa versus England, CSL, and by the looks of it, South Africa did very well with ball in hand, managing to dismiss England relatively cheaply. Now Sharks in possession. Look on your arm, look for the offload. That's going to be forward from Ethan Hooker. Hamish, who's going to get this well. The Sharks, on paper, I would say is the strongest side, but that's what I think we've said about every Lions game throughout the season, and they always find a way, or some of the time anyway. So, at home, a little bit of rain falling, 7-0 lead after 10 minutes. They'll be feeling confident, but still a long way to go. And I think that the Sharks will come back and at least lead at some point. I've been watching Ireland and Six Nations on No Says Super Ducks. We certainly have. We've commentated every game of the Six Nations from round 2 onwards. Sadly, we weren't able to do round 1 as I was at a wedding, but yeah, from round 2, we have been doing all of the commentary. Ireland having some good performances, although really getting pushed by Wales in the last game. It was great to see the Welsh finally start to find a bit of a rhythm. They're going to be playing next weekend for these Six Nations. Now, nicely run to the short side for Morne Vandenberg, tackled by Maviseri. And I says, Lulo, welcome in. Ruan Fenta has to play half. Nalabakanye diving forward to keep that ball on their side. And just inside of the Sharks 50, so this will not be a 50-22 if it was to go out. Oh no, Morne Vandenberg. He managed to notice that Umfatuku Matuna was going to go for the charge down, although he was actually offside by the looks of that. So it will be the penalty to the Sharks on the halfway line. Rain can be the equaliser at times. Definitely with a side like the Sharks, they apparently like a bit of water, from what I've heard. What's your phone number on WhatsApp? I don't actually think I have WhatsApp, I believe. It's not as popular here in New Zealand as some other places, I don't think. Occasionally people have WhatsApp, but yeah, I think it's normally Instagram and Facebook. Those are the 2 main ones and Snapchat here in New Zealand's quite big too, I think. The Lion, the Witch, and the Shark, definitely the Lion. See a Spider Mech. Now ready to go for this line out. What about Lion, Witch, and DuPont? Says Ruth. 2 line outs, 1 for the Sharks at the moment. Lions looking to get their second one. And that is nicely done. Looking for the rolling maul. This ball could be anywhere. I think it's at the back with Ruan Fenta, but it looks like it's very ugly at the moment in terms of trying to create some sort of nice forward that's very close to the try line, and the penalty does go the way of the Lions 5 metres out. Amish, your thoughts on Ma'anonu returning to playing rugby? Very experienced veteran, of course, and still got gas in the tank, obviously. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he goes, whether or not now that he's a bit older, he'll start to slow down. But I'm sure he'll have a few veteran tricks up his sleeve. 42 years old, I believe he is. Somewhere around there. I'm a Sharks supporter. The Sharks backline wants to run, not swim. Says Robert. Well, if it keeps pouring the way that it is, they might have to do a bit more swimming in the second half. I still remember that Cape Town final between the New Zealand and Samoa, I believe it was, in the sevens, and the field was absolutely soaked. It was a very interesting game. I think the power went out during that contest as well. They had technical difficulties. Now getting closer to the line here for the Lions. JC Pretorius goes off to Landsberg, starts to pump his legs. Morne Vandenberg back across Lombard with the inside ball. Nice stepping from Manuel Ras. Off to the right-hand side yet again. That's why rain is an equaliser. Oh, so you're saying that the Sharks are poor in the rain? Both sides, of course, playing in those conditions. At the moment, the Lions doing a lot better in them. Going off to the left-hand side. Ruan Fenter. Oh, he almost reached out there around the side. And Frank Horn will score 2 in a row for the Lions. He's 44, I believe, says Spider Mick. Yeah, 100% says Birdie V. And Sharks are poor in water, says Wenmar. That is another try. Coming the way of the Lions. 12-0 at the moment with the kick to come. And it's exactly what they would have been after. Just continual pressure from this Lions side and just that quick pick and go round the side. Yeah, good awareness from Frankie Horn to be able to just scoot around the side. Oh, I thought the Sharks player was going to line up the kick there. He was just running back to get onside. I think that was Lukanyoam, a little bit slow getting back to his mark. Right, now they want to check the grounding, but he's already kicked it over. It's 14-0 as we currently sit. Is there a knock-on from Frankie Horn? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And the Cats/Lions love water, says Win. But yeah, 14-0. I mentioned about it before the game. Every once in a while, the Lions can have that game where they go out and get 3 tries in 15. Now, they've only got into 2 tries in the 15 minutes, but they'll take that every day of the week. Definitely when they came in as slight underdogs in this matchup against the Sharks. Going to be kicked high, nicely taken by the Lions and Landsberg, but it's loose into Machunu. Almost able to come through and grab it, but he has knocked it on in the process. It's going to be another scrum, and anytime there's a scrum, I can tell you right now, the groundskeeper is grimacing because every time someone digs in their boot and slightly pushes, it rips up the whole turf. And it just looks like someone's gone out there who's not a very good golfer and looks like they've had about 15 cracks at hitting a ball and have missed them all. Because there is just divot after divot inside of the Lions 22 at the moment. And this has the potential of someone's boot actually going right up under the ground. We'll see how this goes. Morne Vandenberg ready to feed this ball in. If the Lions win, the bookies will be smiling. Says Outlaw. And nope, both front rows going straight down and their legs slipping out the back. We're going to have another reset. That is a unique scrum cap for Juan Schumann. It actually has a whole heap of kind of little divots in it. I don't think I've seen a headgear like that. It's almost like a swim cap. So it's unique. He probably needs it for this type of weather. And a swim cap on might not be a bad idea. 17 minutes in, if the Lions win. Oh no, I read that one, didn't I? My original bet was Lions 28-16. And Sharks should change their name to Hyena, Lions' greatest enemy, and very dangerous for the players as well, says Lilia B. Yeah, that's where you can see the ankles slipping and all sorts of problems. Now, ball is fed. No, it wasn't fed. And now, that was well done by Morne Vandenberg, because I actually think if that ball had been put in, the Sharks would have won that scrum. But he waited just that little bit longer, allowed the Sharks to flatten out with Ruandrea, and the Lions get themselves the penalty inside of their 22. Oh, kick towards the touchline. That looked like he slipped over in the process for Morne Vandenberg. We're going to see it now. Yes, right from the get-go, Dreyer had that little bit of an extra push on him. Could have caused the problem. The umbrellas across the benches by the looks of it today. Although someone's optimistic, they've put their umbrella down to all the Lions supporters. Please lose your keyboards, says Neville. Be quite hard to lose a keyboard, wouldn't it? On a phone, it's attached. And unless you got well, you could have a Bluetooth one and maybe someone takes it off you and runs to a different room in the house. It's going to be kicked high. Chance here. Oh, yeah, Benker, he has knocked it on, but the penalty is going to be going back. I believe that will be offside against the Lions. Bulls play like the Bots. Stormers play like Ireland. Lions play like New Zealand style. Just a thoughtful opinion made over time, says Robert. So who do the Sharks play like? You've listed 3 of the 4 South African sides. Now, Sia Masuku, ready to kick this one into touch. And Lions are the king, like Hamish smooth commentary. And it looks like the Sharks are not hungry enough for a playoff spot, although they are sitting very nicely at the moment on the table. Like, even with a couple hiccups along the way, they still find themselves in 4th with the game in hand. Like, if they... It's going to be tricky, but if they were to win this game or even just get a bonus point from it, you know, they've still got a game in hand over Munster and Edinburgh. So, yeah, it's just going to be more of the question of what state will they be in by the playoff games. Are they going to have even more injuries? Will they have a couple guys returning? They have stacked their bench for this match. Sharks are supposed to be able to swim. Lions don't really like water. So here's Neville. Now Mongi Umbanambi, nicely taken by Vincent Chichuka. And now Mavasiri goes off the back of the mould to Pepsi Buthelezi. And Dragons are last, says Mr. Marmite. Looking at this, Sharks come back from this. Or can the Sharks come back from this? Absolutely. There's still 60 minutes of rugby to be played. And yes, they haven't had the smoothest start, but one try could change this, even if they get a 3 at some point. I can't pin down Sharks and their mind team, says Robert, and that's going to be a knock-on from the Sharks. And the rain is starting to pour a lot heavier than it was at the start. And like they've said, when you're struggling to find your rhythm, the last thing you want is a torrential downpour, because of course, a little bit more slipperiness, and Umbanambi just looking up rather than looking at the ball. The Bulls analogy is what sometimes pisses me off about the box. Sharks playing bad, says Kid. And I truly hope the Sharks win, says LFG. Yeah, that is a heavy rain. At the moment, the sky looks blue and nice, no rain, says Mr. Marmite. Are we talking about this game or maybe a different game's location? Because at the moment, we can see the raindrops through the camera lens. And early days still, says Lilia B. And 14-0 is a good lead in the rain, says Outlaw. Exactly right. And if they can sneak another try somewhere along the way, like 21 would be massive. You can even hear the rain through the sideline microphone. Oh, Morné van den Berg's just dropped that ball as he was about to feed it into the scrum. That is something I don't think I've actually ever seen. Little grubber attempted there. Oh, just boots it. That was unique. So he went for the kick. It got charged down. The ball just sat there, and then he just absolutely hoofed it straight to Jordan Hendrickson. Drop ball from Mafura. And another knock-on coming. There's going to be a lot of them. Lions have a huge score advantage in the rain, says LFG. And out of curiosity, if anyone knows, what's the weather like at Loftus for today? Is there going to be rain for that game as well, or are we going to get a dry game? Possibly for Bulls versus Stormers. Talking about the Sharks. Came face-to-face with one. He swam away like a coward he is, says Spider Mick. How's the Lions ever going to lose this one? Come on, says Andrew. No rain in Loftus, says LFG. Right, so that's good news. Hopefully that is the way that it will stay. Lilia B asked me for a date, but I said no, says Mr. Marmite. Is that like your sky is blue situation when it's pouring down with rain? I looked rain at Loftus. Oh, is there? Right, so we got someone said no rain and someone said rain. So it's 50-50 at the moment. We'll have to wait and see. Nothing wrong with playing rugby in the rain. It's normal for us up here, says Fleshin, and sunny over here, says Original Venom. Now, Jaden Hendrickson going off to Sia Masuku, looping around. Jordan Hendrickson puts the grubber in. Your pinky. Not quite quick enough to catch up with that. That's something you don't say too often. Already 23 minutes through this fixture. 2 tries on the board for the Lions. Of course, in the URC, 4 tries get you the bonus point. And that is what the side will be chasing. And with the start that they've had, they'll be probably a bit disappointed not to get the job done. The Castle Lagers are ice cold at the pub. All girls fun today. And that's the Storm, says Wemma. Now, Begia Borta. Line out throw goes to the front. It's an easy option in the rain. As long as it's held on to Lombard. Does clear the Lions. Now it's going to be a line out for the Sharks. Okay, Lombard not happy. He's saying, put it right in front of me for me to take the kick. I think JC just went over to him and said, calm down a bit. Our girls are allowed in the pub. Says Mr. Marmite, and Loftus is dicey. It's overcast and rain is predicted for later this afternoon, says Stefan. Well, I guess at least the conditions are consistent across the 2 games then. If that's the case, that's going to be knocked on by Vincent Tichuca. How many times are we going to see the ball dropped in this game? I would say a few. JC Pretoria, tackled by his opposite number, Mavaseri. Tried to spring straight back up to his feet. Gets a counter ruck going as well here for the Sharks. And that is going to be the clean turnover. Great bit of work. Now in behind. Siamasuka. Oh, too much on that one. That's going to keep on rolling. And it goes dead. Now, it didn't go dead in terms of going right out of the end goal, but it did go to the side of the end goal. Either way, they do still go right back to where it was kicked from. And Dry Lions. Come on, let's go, boys. Pull it. And we have got there 21-0, says Alex. Ball swords will be good in the rain, says Outlaw. Just mentioned about those difficult conditions again. If the sky is red and overcast, it's going to rain, says Spider Mick. Oh, wait, no, already have a Quarton, says Win. Those are big drops too. When you can see them on the main camera, you know it's going to be one of those slightly wetter type of games. 25 minutes in, still 15 minutes away from halftime. The first of 2 South African derbies that are taking place today. The weather has certainly not played its part. Players trying to play theirs. Monet Vandenberg having a bit of a chat there with Frankie Horn by the looks of it. And once again that goes down. The legs falling out from underneath them. They're just all slipping when it comes to those scrums, unfortunately. Fried egg and beer. Interesting combo. Probably would go all right, though, to be fair. What else do you have with the fried egg other than the beer? Do you have, like, some sort of meat with it or some chips, maybe? You girls must not overdo it. Just do it over, says Wenmar. Looks like they're going to move to the side just to try and create a bit more stability at scrum time. Fried egg and Marmite. Interesting. I've never heard of that combination, unless you're talking about Mr. Marmite, I guess. I used to have pancakes with Marmite on them and whipped cream. That was an interesting choice. But I think from memory they weren't bad, even though they don't sound like they'd be the nicest things in the world. Now ball's going to be fed in again by Morne Vandenberg. Much more stable scrums, both front rows popping up, and that's going to be another advantage in favour of the Lions. Morne Vandenberg going off to the left-hand side, quick hands. Manuel Ras. Oh, slipping over, gets back up. Still playing the scrum penalty advantage. Rush defence and another knock on from PJ Borta. No, that's the toilet recipe, bruh. Is that the fried egg and Marmite or the pancake one? A strange combo for you, Hamish. Yeah. It's unique. I'll give you that. Fried egg and Marmite, never heard, says Spider Mick. And the rain is making the grass soft and the ball slippery. High kicks are causing knock-ons. Even just passes at this point have been causing quite a few drop balls. Right, they're inside of their own half here. It looks like they are going to be kicking for the corner more than likely. Marmite on toasted cheese top muffins. And hello, says Banana Lucy. Welcome in. Strange combo for you, Hamish. Says Lilia be there too. Going to be put into touch. About 20 metres out from the line now for the Lions. Another game. Rugby is a busy, thriving sport, says Xander. Yeah, there's certainly been plenty of matches taking place throughout the last little while. feels weird. We're only doing 5 matches on the channel throughout this weekend, which is a lot less than we normally end up doing, but yeah, it's been pretty cruisy, I would say, even though it is still 2 a.m. at the moment here in New Zealand. This game been running quite smoothly too in terms of the time, I should mention. And nice steal from the Sharks at line-out time. Umbanambi back to Ethan Hooker. Hasn't really had a huge amount of space to work with throughout the early stages of this match. Jaden Hendrickse across to Ntutoko Machunu, just creating a bit more of an angle for himself. The best one we needed, Hamish here. Here's Ruth. And it's going to be kicked high from Jaden Hendrickse. Well taken from Richard Creel. It is not an easy day to take that high ball. Morne Vandenberg, a lot of pressure on him. Offloads it up to Ruan Fenter. Our pitch is waterlogged. That's why it's ripping up. Will soon resemble our tar roads, says Neville. And yeah, they mentioned about a bit of a downpour earlier on that caused it to get very wet. And yeah, just anywhere that they've had a scrum, like the ground's just gone. How was your wedding the other weekend when your friend was commentator for us? The wedding was good. Everything went to plan, I believe. Other than the fact that after the wedding, I did get sunburnt feet. And that is painful. Do not sunburn the top of your feet, ladies and gents. Definitely not to the extent that I did it. Or else you will have not much of a fun time. Luckily, it was in the later stages of the holiday, though. So I only had to make it home on the travel day. And then I could go barefoot for the next, 3 weeks straight. Why did Kiwi Rob get so angry last weekend over the Blues losing to the Highlanders? I think certain people do definitely wear their hearts on their sleeves for their rugby support, and if a team loses when they shouldn't, and it's their team, they do get very frustrated. If the Sharks can't score before second half, it's going to be a game over for the Sharks. Burnt feet. You Kiwis walk over coals on wedding, says Xander. No, the top of the feet, unfortunately, and it was rough. I've been sunburnt before, but sunburnt feet from standing on a beach on a hot day. I didn't know you could cook your feet that much. I think my feet were medium rare by the end of it. And I keep thinking of someone wearing a banana costume now, says Mr. Marmite. They are just showing the work that is happening from the Lions for that first try of PJ Buota. Now, just a little bit of a stoppage here. Both sides, but we are already 30 minutes into this contest, and the Sharks have many Bok players but tend to play poorly, says Kid. And yeah, off the bench, they've got a lot of Springboks for this match. 21-0 from Alex there, but yeah, in terms of their bench, you've got Vincent Koch, you've got Sia Khaleesi, Grant Williams, all there, and then I should mention Keita was taken out late from the lineup. And speaking of taken out, Kwama makes his way on, and that is going to be for Fenter, who will make his way off. I think that would be an HIA, maybe. Looks like Lombard be lining up this 3-point attempt, and that would give the Lions a 17-0 lead. And that one never really came around. That is going to make the score now after 30 minutes, 14-0. 22 dropout. I want to say that it's starting to look a little bit brighter there at the ground. Not necessarily with the rain stopping, but only a drizzle at this point in time. So this might be the perfect chance for the teams to up that tempo before the end of the first half. Nice take under the high ball from Manuel Russ, who will now chase after this one, sent up by Mafura. Nice take from Jordan Hendricks. Almost got smacked in the face with it, but it's right in the chest. Claimed by the Sharks. Jaden Hendricks across to Dreyer. Looks like he will once again go box kick. That is a tackle that we've seen quite a bit of. Or tactic. I think I said tackle there. Yeah, tactic that has been used heavily in this match. Pinke knocks it back onto the side of the Sharks. And now another kick attempted, this time by Sia Masuku, looking for the 50-22. That ball has gone on again. And this time it will pull up in the in-goal area. Mafura runs it out. And it's a good kick. It's going to be curving towards the touchline. Almost made it all the way to the Sharks 22. It stays in the field of play. Sia Masuku now lined up. 40 metres out from their line, the Sharks with Vincent Tichuka steps around one, dragged down, tries the offload. That is extremely risky in these type of conditions. I think there was a double knock on, one from the Sharks, one from the Lions. There's an ugly breakdown and the ball's gone back on the side of the Sharks. Now Jordan Hendricks after Yapenka and back to Renzo Julius it was, gets the offload away. Ethan Hooker does the same. Hendricks finds it to Masuku, a little bit high from Morne Vandenberg. I think Hamish has hairy toes. He looks like the type. Depends how hairy you're talking. Like I know there is some hair down there, but I don't know whether they're above average when it comes to the amount of hair on them. That's a good kick. Is it going to pull up? Yes, it does. 5 metres out from the line. A lot of pressure here for Jordan Hendricks. I'm not sure. Was that on purpose for Hendricks? He ran to the short side and got driven into touch. And I think that was just to try and protect that ball, not allow a loose pass to go across field. But good pressure from Richard Creel. I fell asleep slightly drunk in the garden with sunglasses on my face, burnt. I had 2 very white circles around my eyes. Says Fleshin. Yeah, the old panda look when that happens. Listening to you from Clarence, says Michael. Welcome in again. Closer to the sea or more inland. In my mind, New Zealand is only farms and coastal regions. I would love to tour New Zealand one day. So pretty much farms and coastal regions. You've described the area I'm in. Like we are right next to the, well, not right next, like probably a 10-minute drive from the coast of New Zealand. So that's quite cool. That's going to be another penalty. And this is going to be a yellow card here for the Sharks. It's collapsed. Unthutuku Machunu. He's getting fired up, and now he's mounting a man on the ground. What he doesn't realise is he's going to have to make his way from the field here for a yellow card. I think Ruben Skirman having a bit of a push and a shove with him. Umbanambi getting in his face too. Question is, who is going to be the man who gets yellow carded? Oh. Okay. Tell you what, that is a statement and a half there from the referee. He said, let me make one thing clear. Umbanambi is not your captain. Tell him to work on his discipline. Yellow card here for Unthutuku Machunu. Ref keeping control of this game, and Machunu not happy about his yellow card. Still fired up, dragging down that maul, only a couple metres out from the try line. Now with a man advantage, what are we going to see here for the Lions? The referee couldn't actually find the yellow card, so he had to do the hand signal. And come on, what's happening, says Lilia B. So yeah, yellow card goes to Unthutuku Machunu, Landsberg on the short side. In fact, this time it's going to be Huama. Only a couple metres out, in fact, less than that. Ball has popped out the back for Morne Vandenberg. It has been all Lions at the moment. Nalabachanye flattening out just short of the try line again. Umbanambi asking the ref for a penalty. That's actually, I think, a try. No, it's called as a knock-on. Now, I think the Lions actually knocked that one backwards and then it kicked into someone's foot and then they scored it. They might, I don't think they're going to check it. But yeah, looked like it went backwards for Landsberg. Yeah, that's gone backwards. Kicked forwards by Ruben Skuman, who scores the try. But the knock-on was originally called, and that is a big one. Is the yellow justified? I think so. They were close to the line, and it was dragged down, so you're always risking danger when you're that close. The Bears are rolling in with awesome music, and Hamish in the mix, says Ruth. As the best league players in the world combined to play on one team, if the best league players in the world combined to play on one team versus the best union players in the world in one team, and it was 1/2 league and 1/2 union, with combined scores, who wins? Ooh. See, I would probably say the union side would win, just because of the fact that breakdown-wise, I think during the Union half, that's where Union would find their dominance. Like, don't get me wrong, the set plays in the rugby league side of things in terms of phases, it would still take a bit of adjusting for Union, but I do think they'd have more of an advantage playing their own discipline than league would, if that makes sense. And crazy that it isn't checked. Terrible refereeing, says David. Yeah, I'm still convinced that was a try. But it's going to be scrum feed here for the Sharks. Only 5 metres out from their line with a man disadvantage. And now, going to be holding strong just for now. Breaking off the back for Pepsi Buthelezi. Trying to get rid of Lombard. Hamish tuned in from the bar, at the barn in Wellington with Bruce, says Rudy. I did recognise the barn in. I was wondering, hang on, what's happening here? But welcome in, Rudy. Ball's going to go into touch. Good kick from Sia Masuku. And who wins? Oh, no, I read that one, didn't I? And just 14-0. Yep, 14-0 at the moment. We've got to remember, torrential rain at one point throughout that first half, so that slowed down the scoring a little bit up the Sharks. Says Kangi there. Now Pidgey Aborta just getting the information from his teammate about what the next plan is. Going to be thrown over the top to the back. Nicely taken by Marius Lowe. Two-man tackle on him by Pepsi Buthelezi as well as Bongi Umbanambi, who has already been told by the referee that he is not the captain. So he is not allowed to speak to him as much as he's been trying to. Now, nice run forward from Borta. 15 metres from the line here for the Lions. Can they build even a bigger lead before the halftime break? Nalabakanye. No, he's knocked it on. Now we have got there up the Sharks. A few insects stuck on my web. But now 3 minutes remaining in this first half and another exit coming from the Sharks. And what is the score? At the moment, the score is 14-0. After 37 minutes, the Sharks will be down a man for another 6.5 minutes. So that is one thing that they have to be very careful about, is not conceding before we get into that second half. And I've been to New Zealand, to Canterbury, absolutely amazing place. Says Jamie. Yeah, like there's plenty of regions in New Zealand that, like, you can see a lot depending on what you're wanting to see. That was a weird sentence, but you know what I'm saying. Like, you know, if you want to see lakes, you can go to Wanaka, Queenstown, that kind of region. Oh, nice attack and run. And Edward van der Merwe goes up the middle. And that is the third try of the match for the Lions. They looked like Edward van der Merwe was going to try and go for a headstand there after scoring it. And do more Union players in Australia have more experience in league growing up than the other way around or vice versa? It depends on where you are in Australia, but a lot of times, like, the only ones that play rugby union are normally private schools, and then most of the other schools go into AFL or rugby league, which is why numbers of union in Australia isn't as high as, you know, some people would think that it would be. That's a brilliant attack and run from Edward van der Merwe as well. Scores the try. I want to see if he tried to do a headstand or whether he was just trying to slow down his momentum. Can we restart this match, please? Says Lilia B. I saw a guy do a headstand. He broke his neck and died, says Mr. Marmite. So a good lesson then, that headstands are dangerous. I could never do them back at school. Like, we had to do a backwards roly-poly, but my body don't bend that way. That one's going to be missing away to the left. So that's going to keep the score at 19 points to 0 in favour of the Lions. And yeah, Edward van der Merwe, as soon as he had that space, he was going to be gone. Are we going to see it? Yeah, he did do a headstand and a little bit of a try celebration too. Marius Lowe was surprised by it. And hey, mate, I think the Sharks will come back to win, says Mikhail. It would be a massive one, but of course we can't count them out. Rugby can sometimes be a game of two halves, and with a missed kick, means 3 converted tries would get them the lead here. And speaking of 3, maybe 1 coming here. Only 25 metres out from the line, Lucanio Andrea. A dry side is okayish, like Amish in the pond. Now across. Low tackle. That's the thing. The Lions' defence throughout this game has been very strong. Oh, missed the chance for the turnover. Hendrickse, 2 seconds remaining on the clock. There's the halftime siren. So any stoppage now involving a knock-on or anything along those lines would be the end of the half. See Masuku on the halfway line. Passes out to Yapenke. Ball's lost backwards and it goes into touch. And that is going to make the score at halftime 19 points to nil. What a start to this match by the Lions. They have come out with a real determined type of feel for them, and I don't think the Sharks can quite believe it. I've seen these Sharks team is capable of coming back, says Mikhail. The Sharks may have a try, or might have to try again in a week's time in Durban against the Lions. Says Robert, of course, that is the next game that is going to be taking place for these two sides. For anyone wondering, the Lions, they have got the Sharks next week. Then in 3 weeks, they've got Cardiff, Glasgow at the end of March. For the Sharks, they have got themselves the match up against the Lions, of course, next week. 3 weeks' time, they play Zebra, and then they have got Leinster on the 28th, or sorry, the 30th of March, which will be the 29th for you guys in South Africa. This is the way that the table currently does sit. The Lions were able to win this game. Currently, they are 1 try away from a bonus point, and if they were to get it, they would move all the way up to 8th. So they would be in the top 8 just as we currently sit. Of course, that can change if the Stormers were able to get themselves a win over the Bulls, for instance, or any of the other URC matches do go a certain way, but it'll certainly boost them up that little bit more, and still a game in hand for them over the likes of Edinburgh and Munster. They, of course, did play a little bit earlier on. We have got the Lions live up to the name King. Long time no see, says Charles. Welcome in again, mate. Hope you have been keeping well, and thank you, Hamish from South Africa, says Corinne. No worries at all. And yeah, we've got another match just around the corner. That is going to be the Bulls versus Stormers. That first half was actually pretty smooth sailing overall in terms of time. Only took 45 minutes to play 40 minutes of rugby, so that is terrific news. Definitely because last week, the URC game that we covered, it took 2 hours and 3 minutes to get through, which was huge when you consider that theoretically there's only 1 hour 20 worth of rugby, so that was 40 minutes of stoppages including half-time, which is normally around 15. The last week of the Six Nations will be insane, says Charles. I hope it's really close. So for that to happen, we would actually have to see the French get the win over the Irish just to make that table that little bit more competitive. But it'll be very interesting to see how that comp is going to end. And of course, straight after that competition's finished, we're pretty much into the Champions and Challenge Cup. For anyone who doesn't know, the South African sides, they are going to be stacking the Challenge Cup for the round of 16. We see a lot more of teams in that one. In fact, I don't think there's a single South African team in the Champions Cup that I can think of. We'll just have a quick look. Maybe one? Did the Bulls make it? No, they missed out. I think the Sharks also missed out. I think Hamish bites his yellow toenails. I've never been a nail biter. But looking at the round of 16 for Champions Cup, yeah, not a single South African side. The Challenge Cup, though, is stacked in terms of South African teams. And we have got their Lions, come on, let's go. No South African teams in the champs. But yeah, in terms of the Challenge Cup, I think there was only one team that missed out. And I believe, if I'm not wrong, that was the Stormers? I think. So yeah, in terms of the round of 16, we get to see the Lions taking on Edinburgh. That's on the 5th of April. We get to see the Bulls taking on Bayern. And we see the Sharks taking on Lyon. So 3 big games coming up. Hamish is double jointed, says Wemma. You know, I couldn't even reach my mouth on my foot if I tried, I don't think. Sorry, it's out of rugby topic, but, says Charles. Right, I'm excited what this is going to be now. Majority think Lion's going to win. I think they're right, says Bruce. And the Lion, the King, and the Little Shark. The Sharks coaching staff need slam box with nails to revive the players, says Neville. And they've certainly made a lot of errors throughout this first half. What went wrong in the first half for the Sharks? They just being outplayed. I would say that the counter-attack so far from the Lions has been extremely impressive. Plus, the Sharks, their handling's let them down. I think both sides would say that their handling has been a bit lackluster though, but then when you look at the conditions, it's probably not completely unreasonable to say that there's going to be a few handling errors throughout these type of matches. In fact, we'll get some stats for that first half and see whether or not the Lions have dominated. Right, in terms of stats, possession 57% in favour of the Lions. Clean breaks is 1-0 in favour of the Lions. 7-3 for the defenders beaten in favour of the Lions. Territory 72% for the Lions, and they're also tackling at a 90% compared to the 80 of the Sharks. Turnovers 1 is 50-50. 6 penalties against the Sharks compared to the 2 of the Lions. So across those ones, you know, too much drop ball, of course, considered as well, but too many penalties against them, including a yellow card. Black Cats have been fantastic in the Champions Trophy, where you do Black Cats versus India live. It's in 10 p.m. They might win, sorry, if it's out of the rugby topic. No, it's all good. I don't think we'll be doing that game. I will probably be watching it, though. But, yeah, maybe if New Zealand... Maybe we could try and do one of the playoff games. You know, if they make it through to the final. The biggest problem, though, is, like, copyright strikes are pretty brutal for cricket, and you normally get them pretty easily. So, yeah, we'll try anyway. Hopefully, New Zealand, South Africa as the final. That would be a pretty awesome one to be able to cover. Having a small function here today, but some with will rather listen to Hamish than swim. Having a braai. Says Bruce. How much time left on the yellow? Still another 5 or so minutes for Umtutuku Machunu before he's able to make his way back out onto the field. So that's where the Lions, you know, if they can strike again, get that bonus point secured, then it is definitely their games, or their game to lose. Hamish looks well, and his neck doesn't look swollen, says RIP. Does it normally look swollen? Out of curiosity, they're just showing their meters made. 189 for the Lions, 100 exactly for the Sharks. Tackle numbers relatively even. New Zealand versus South African Champions League final will be a revenge of the World Cup rugby final. I'm not delusional. May the best team win, says Charles. It would be a big one. It's like quite a few schoolboys in the stands all wearing their school uniform. And there's been a lot of rain in the stands. Unfortunately, their school uniform doesn't involve an umbrella. Looks like they are interviewing some random spectators out the back. Looking at the benches, ladies and gents, for this contest. If we go here and there we go. So Jaco Visachi is there for the Lions alongside Kotsia and Skuman. In the front row, Del Port and Homa, who has made his way onto the field already for this Lions team. Then Nico Stain at 21, Kens at 22, and Yonka as the number 23. In terms of the Sharks, they have got Bester, Blula, and Vincent Koch, Labaskachny, and Siakalisi, and then Williams, Fenta, and then a change late in that number 23 jersey. No longer sees Edwin Keita there, and instead they have found the replacement. But it's going to be interesting. See the second half in action. The venues for the Springboks games were announced this week, says Lilia B. That is true. Got some impressive matches going to be coming up around the corner. Hamish, you're looking absolutely wild and wonderful today, darling. Great try, says Ruth. Wild and wonderful. That's an interesting combo. Hopefully they don't do the choke in the knockout stages, which Scotland did against England last week in the Six Nations, says Charles. Yeah, it's going to be interesting because, like, that's the thing. Ideal situations, right? Yes, it would be cool to see New Zealand play South Africa in the final, but I feel like in terms of semi-finals, for a little bit more of the story of it, India versus Australia would be a pretty cool one. But then for that to happen, of course, like currently, I don't think that Champions Trophy game is over as of yet. And looking at the way that the table sits, South Africa can go into first, I think, if I am correct. So, Yeah, if South Africa finish first, that would mean they will face the loser of New Zealand versus India. So, could be interesting. Which they should win, by the way. They are currently sitting, I think it was 2 down in the cricket. Yeah, 2 down for 58 runs. And they only need a required run rate of 3 and over. Halftime people says Ruth. And Wild, please elaborate, says Lilia B. And Lilia B, you have a fan, says when. And Ruth Carter is blushing hammy. And Lilia B knows more than Hamish, says Mr. Marmite. And as well, I do not doubt that one bit. Second half, I would say we're probably only about 2 or 3 minutes away from the start, I would say. We've currently got an advertisement for McDonald's. Lilia B should be a Kiwi lad, says Mr. Marmite. Now, I would say, if we had to guess, ladies and gents, I don't think anyone got it in the first half because it was PJ Aborta, which was not an easy man to predict. So, who's going to score the first try, ladies and gentlemen, in the second half? I think that the Sharks are due to score, but I do think that there is also a chance that they could still concede. The sun's out for this game. What a beautiful afternoon for a game of rugby. Morning all, says Kerr. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. And Kiwi Lad should invite chat people to appear on the live show. That is a recipe for disaster, Mr. Marmite. It would be awesome in an ideal world where we can still edit some things and have like a little bit of a delay. But if you put a live mic in front of some people, you don't know what's going to come out. So that's the risky part of it. Can't believe the Sharks are losing this with the team they have. Also, what do you think of Hombre coming back to the Bulls, says Rugby Itch. Certainly going to be a big player to add. But welcome in, Tim. Hope you are doing well. Once again, another thrilling match for the Western Force, I do see. They just seem to know how to have close games. Unfortunately, though, this time they were on the wrong side of it. But, yeah, like the Sharks side, they have got a few injuries along the way, which is making it a little bit tricky for them currently. But, yeah, they certainly should be doing better than they are here. Their penalty count has been high. Untaroku Machunu going to the bin. Thanks for your commentary, Hamish, says Russell. No worries at all. But, yeah, in terms of Andre Pollard to the Bulls, massive. And, I mean, in that 10 jersey at the moment, they've actually got Willie LaRue. I mean, playing him at 10 more than anyone else. They had Johan Goosen, but he's got the injury. Chris Smith, I think, is also injured. So the injury lists just keep on getting bigger and bigger. I saw Travis Head eating McDonald's. So I guess a good endorsement for it. That man scores a lot of runs. I need to start eating McDonald's then because I got a duck today in my cricket. So that's not ideal. But second half underway. And the Sharks nicely taken inside of their 22 to start off the second 40. They will still be a man disadvantage for the next maybe 5 or so minutes. Thanks for your commentary, Hamish, says Russell. I did miss a message earlier on, I did see from Stahl saying, hello, Hamish, long time no heard. So welcome in, Stahl. Hope you are keeping well too. It's going to be an early penalty going the way of the Lions. I'm just happy the Blues were able to win this week. I thought we were going to lose it at the end, but our defence won the Blues the game. Says Rugby Itch. Yeah, like the Blues, they needed that one to just have that bit more confidence. And they also got 5 points for it, which was pretty massive. That one is going to be kicked in a touch. Labaskachny is on the field for Vincent Tachuka. And Lukanyoam is now going to be the captain. Hamish, share a dream, says RIP. I once had a dream that I was commentating a match. And then my mum the next morning asked who I was talking on the phone with at 6:30 a.m. And I was just commentating in my sleep. That's a fun story. Now Landsberg, a little pop pass off, trying to get back up to his feet. I think he was held, and I'm not sure there was a clear release either, but 7 metres out from the line here. The Lions with Morne Vandenberg once again fires it across to PJ Aborta. Close to the line. Close to a steal as well for Jason Jenkins. The Lions always play well in Joburg, says Justin. Vandenberg. Pop this one off to the right-hand side. Marius Lowe, what a pass that is. And Richard Creel in the corner. Bonus point time for the Lions. Massive. Going ahead. But good luck with the live stream. Thank you very much, Tim. I'm sure we will end up catching up at some point soon, but the bonus point has come for the Lions 42 minutes in. They are having a field day in Joburg. The Lions need a lot of water to excel. Don't do good on dry soil, says Naomi. And we have got there, would be good on a live Kiwi Lads show, says Mr. Marmite. And we have got there missing person. Anyone knows whereabout Cool Story is? Says Spider Mick, and Sharks are going down south, or are going south. Well, they used to win every game, says Stahl. But yeah, this scoreline is not very flattering at all at the moment for the Sharks team. And what a score, says Outlaw. And now, once again, another missed kick for the Lions 10. Lombard not able to get it through, but that is going to make the score now 24 points to 0. I don't specifically support a Super Rugby team, but I am a big DMAC fan, and the Chiefs are looking formidable and dazzling. Says Robert, yeah, they have started the season with a hiss and a roar. And what Aussie player would you trade to be in the Black Caps? I would trade Henry Nichols for Travis Head, but I know they won't give, says Charles. I mean, Travis Head would be a very handy player to take. Out 21 metres out from the line or so. And another penalty goes in favour of the Lions. So I've worked out their internet is less than great in Haiti, says Kerr. And what, you're covering some ground, that is for sure. Already in Haiti, you're in New Zealand only last week. Lions are dominating the Sharks, says Charles. One's going to be kicked near the touchline, the Sharks. Have got possession now. Yapinka, what can he do? Puts it high. And well taken under the high ball from Lombard. Now passing across to the short side. Edswell Thunder Merva. He has JC Pretorius. It's 2-on-1 again here. And it's a great tackle by Siamasuku. Mono Fundenberg somehow manages to get that ball out, playing the 9 advantage, going against the Sharks here again. Nalabakanya, the big man, with the offload, goes to Lorenzo Julius. They'll go back. And we have got their bonus point try. Looks like it is only the Bulls that can beat the Lions at Ellis Park, says Eric. And a rude famous show would be Hamish trying to commentate, and Ruth looking at him with puppy dog eyes, says Wenma. And hashtag bring back Crumpus. I don't actually know what happened to Crumpus. He disappeared though, I think. And who is Crumpus? Where is Crumpus? And Wemar definitely agreed, says Ruth. Now they are going for the corner yet again here for the Lions. JC Pretorius, he was ready for that inside ball and he did receive it, but they just weren't quite able to get through. But this is once again a very good opportunity, ladies and gents. 5 metres out from the line, rolling maul is going to be on the cards. Now, Nthuku Matunu, he has made his way back out onto the field. Now, PJ Buata. This one's behind about 15 different players, so it's very hard to tell where this ball actually is, but there it is now, popping out the back of the Lions breakdown. Marius Lowe only 2 metres out. Passes across to Nalabakanye. Pick and go Landsberg. Oh, just short of the line again, but the Lions are chasing their 5th try here, and they're on the verge of being able to score at Ruben Skuman, and this is destroying the points differential of the Sharks the way that this one currently sits. That looks close. In fact, that looks very close. The ball has popped out on the side of the Sharks, so it is going to be a counter-attack, but they might have to check that one to see whether or not there was the grounding. Lorenzo Julius looks for the offload. Jordan Hendrickson driven towards the sideline. As Sharks respect the Lion King, and they give you 1 try, just 1 to make the scoreboard look good, says Spider Mick. And come on, Lions, let's go, boys. And they are going to go back for a penalty to the Sharks now for not rolling away against the Lions. But how close was this from being able to score the try. I think we want to see that one from a different angle if we can. Still 33 minutes remaining in this fixture. The next game that we are covering on the channel, ladies and gents, it is going to be a 4 a.m. kickoff. We are going to be starting that live stream at 3:45. Is that 1,700 meters above sea level? Or yeah, just pops out the side, dislodged when Landsberg tried to carry his way over. Labaskachny, he was not happy. They're having his legs taken out, looking straight to the referee, yelling at him. The penalty did go the way of the Sharks. Surrounded by Sharks supporters here. Up there, it's okay, no one's perfect, says Bruce. What is up with the inconsistent South African team, says RIP. I mean, to be fair, if we had to be really, lenient to the Sharks, they have only played one game across February. It was on the 16th. 2 weeks ago, and then before that, I think they had to wait another 3 weeks for their game prior. So, they are lacking a lot of game time at the moment, plus a big injury list, but that just still doesn't make up for the amount of times that they are making simple errors out there on the field at the moment. And yes, there's a bit of weakness out there. Kicked out on the full from Richard Creel. The advantage for the knock-on was over too, so they will go right back to where it was kicked from. My goodness, this is hard to believe. Sharks used to be the champions, says Stahl. And Hamish, you're simply brilliant, commentary king, says Roof. And bring on the sub, says Lilia B. Yeah, it's probably not a bad time to start emptying those benches. Get those box out there on the park. Sounds like 3 is going to be subbed off. Is that Dreyer for Vincent Koch? Yes, it is. One Springbok. Making his way on. 49 matches off the bench for Stephen Kitsoff in a Springboks kit. Oh, that one's going to be claimed by the Sharks. Bongi Umbanambi wrestled down by Mornay Vandenberg. Sharks are still on the bench. Says Outlaw. Now 30 minutes left. Rolling this one back again. Grant Williams, he has been told to use it. Sending it high. Ethan Hooker after it. Knock on from Richard Creel. It's going to be a knock on. And Bongi's head is not in this match, says Eric. I mean, earlier on, the comment from the referee was, Umbanambi's not your captain, so tell him to sort his discipline out. So I think there's just been... it hasn't been the smoothest game at all for the Sharks. And these are the type of games that sometimes, this is what some would regard a nightmare, right? But sometimes teams can still win their nightmare games, and that is the showing of a really, really good side. The Sharks, though, I just don't see a chance of them to be able to win this game unless something really drastic happens throughout the next 30 minutes, because that's all the time that they've got. Everyone's got injuries. Lions Henko van Wyk and Kjuan Horn from last week, says Robert. Now it's going to be the scrum feed. The Sharks have got themselves the position. Hamish seems like a forgiving person, says RIP. Sometimes I would say probably too much of a forgiving person. But I feel like life's too short to hold grudges. Just takes too much energy, doesn't it? The Sharks are drowning. They need to move around, says Stahl. Now Grant Williams going off to the right-hand side. Yeah, Binke, short ball off the Lucanio arm. Williams trying to up the tempo here. Since making his way on. What's the Sharks' body language like? It's not looking great at the moment. Although it seems like ever since Williams came on, it seems like they've realised now this is where we have to try and find that next gear and up the tempo that little bit more. So we're seeing a bit more aggressiveness coming just in the last little moment. Have to release him now. Grant Williams, skip pass, rush defence from Edwell van der Merwe, shutdowns Jordan Hendrickse. Williams goes across now to Pepsi Buthelezi. As Hendricks coming off the bench for the Sharks. Has to be close to a Springboks cap, says Kiwi Greatman. He is not. No, they had Grant Williams. A nice run short side from Yapinke. Looked for the risky offload. Wasn't necessary. Williams, though, has been able to get that ball straight back. Now only about 15 metres out from the try line. Big run from Jason Jenkins. Now back in behind, Lorenzo Julius. Quick hands from Yapinke. Lucanio arm chasing after it. He's tackled Ethan Hooker. It slips through his hands. And just in one phase, the Lions have lost a good 25 metres. Rudge is a poorly built crutch, says RIP. I don't know whether that was the exact quote, but Ethan Hooker, still the advantage in favour of the Sharks by the looks of it here. Looking for the wide cutout pass, and they will go back for the original advantage here again. One of the guys on board is playing for what is essentially the Bulls Academy side. Locked 205 centimetres, 132 kgs, running the 100 metre in 10.9 seconds. So he's certainly got some future talent, I would say. And Great White scared of orcas, says Spider Meek. Now, Sharks, they're going to kick this one towards the touchline. Sharks need 4 tries to win. Yeah. And the thing is, if they score 4 tries, he's 18. So he'll be loving the buffet then, won't he, Kerr? Lucky there are massive amounts of food on those ships. My uncle, when me and Dad were talking about it, he laughed at us when we said we only had like the pizza, the chip, or the garlic bread and the chips. We went very basic that day. Chicken tenders, they were all right though. Lions equals Red Bull, Sharks equals safety car, says Pieta. Now, Bongi Umbanambi throws it in, nicely claimed by Jason Jenkins. Now, short pop pass from Umbanambi goes off to Pepsi Buthelezi. Williams cross to Labaskachny. Williams, little short ball to Mavesiri. Poor built crutch will make you break a hip, says Stahl. Ankle tap him and Gravity says, hello bro, how you doing? Says Wemma. Now Richard Krill, ball's gone back onto the side of the Lions, and this is a big kick. Chance of well, not really a 50-22. The ball's going to pull up very quickly. Look, Kanyu arm, tackle, look for the offload to Jordan Hendricks. That was just about in touch. I thought he was out. The ref says it's fine. No card yet, Amy. Good ref. We've seen one card from Umtutuku Machunu. That was for dragging down the rolling maul. Oh, Mafura lined up on the halfway line. They do have to release him again. 26 minutes remaining in this one. Wide cutout pass for the Lions here. Shot on Fenter from Ethan Hooker. Steele in the breakdown. There's been very little ball security at times for either of these teams in this match. I wonder what time the Sharks will arrive at Ellis Park, says Neville. Of course, these two sides are actually going to be playing each other next match as well. It will be next week. Pepsi Buthelezi. Grant Williams tackled on the 22, finds the offload to Lorenzo Julius, and he has dropped the ball, slaps the ground out of frustration, as that was the big chance for the Sharks to get there first. And a big kick downfield, and gets it into touch from Morne Funderburg. A fantastic kick to just add more frustration. Like they're saying, just that scramble from the Lions, being willing to take that big shot and the breakdown to still possibly get a steal. But Lorenzo Julius trying very hard to hang on to that ball. And it's just been one of those ones that just keeps slipping through the fingertips. And any predictions for the playoffs, or you think it's too early, says Kerr? We're getting closer to playoff kind of like guesses, I guess you could say. In terms of top 8, I do still feel like either the Stormers or the Lions will get into that top 8. But then I'm not sure whether I would... I feel like I want to see Benetton make the quarters just because they are a side that go a little bit underrated throughout the URC and have caused some big upsets along the way. I think that Leinster now, I want to say I'm relatively confident they will top the group in terms of the overall standings, just with the amount of points that they've already got, plus they're on an 11-match winning streak. I think Glasgow still have a very good shot of going second, and then probably the Bulls in third. I feel like I'm pretty happy with that top 3, and I think it will stay that way, unless something drastic happens in the next couple of rounds. That's going to be playing the 9, so the penalty does go against Maveseri. And a brilliant game in his last contest, Maveseri. We have there, why can't the Sharks backline... Or why can the Sharks backline not play this bad against the Bulls, says Eric, and the score, says Smith. At the moment, it is 24-0 after 56 minutes in this contest. Morne Vandenberg does make sure that ball goes out. And looking at this, I'll say the Stormers are going to give the Bulls 2 blue eyes. No pun. Says Wenma. And would all South African teams being in the top 8 be a good sign for South African rugby? In some regard, I think so. Yeah, it's going to be interesting because only one of them missed out. Or in fact, no, sorry, 2 of them missed out last year. And one of those was only down to the very last game where we did see the switch. Oof, let's go Hurricanes, says Smith there. Now going to be past one more. Mafura goes for the grubber in behind. Back there to cover was Ethan Hooker. And he had to be. Now, counter-up coming from the Lions, and they will get themselves another penalty. Every breakdown, they've got the chance of stealing this ball at the moment. I heard you opening a Heineken can there, says Quandele. Did you? Well, I'm not sure where that is. Frick de Preux was a Springbok in the last century. You got a good memory for rugby, says RIP, and Stormers need to win. Say top 8, Bulls need to win to chase top 2 finish, says Eric. Yeah, so there's a bit on the line for those two sides in the next match, and I feel like those are the best kind of games where both teams can gain something from it. Bulls made it to the final last year, which is good for South African rugby. Couldn't get the win, but first place loser is not bad, says Kerr. The flash score scoreboard you're using, it certainly is. Do you have a comparison of the table from last year, please? Sadly not. If I was a little bit more prepared... Oh, actually, have I got a picture somewhere? Did I save that picture that I saw? One moment. We're going to do a bit of detective work. Did I save it? I think this is it, maybe. Somehow, have we pulled this one out of nowhere? Yeah! After 11 rounds, there we go. Hello, everyone. That somehow, you couldn't have asked that at a better time because I actually found this picture earlier in the week. So there you go. So the side closest to me is 2024. The side 2025 on the far side is where we are at now. So as you can see, the top 3 still consistent. The Sharks, though, they're in 4th this year when they were in 16th last year. This game's not the best representation of them being in 4th, of course. And then another side that has made a drastic decline is Ulster, sitting in 14th here at the moment. We'll leave that up for a little bit longer, but the Sharks, almost having to take that one back. There's going to be another double blow of the whistle. This seems like, I should lean for now, but this seems like another yellow card. Could be on the cards for the Sharks. But yeah, there we go. So, yeah, there's a few sides that have dropped a little bit this year. Lions are roughly the same, although with a win here, they will, of course, get that extra bit of a boost. But yeah, some quite interesting ones there in terms of who's stayed slightly consistent. Cardiff doing a lot better than they did last year too. I can't see Hamish's face now. This game's so boring, I might pick my nose, says Smith. Now sitting 5 metres out from the line, the Lions are going to try and make it less boring for you, and they're going to look to score again. Another penalty advantage. That's another knock on, another double blow of the whistle, and this is going to be a yellow card. And who do you think will win between Ireland and France? I think it's going to be a great game either way, but France looked good after their game up against the Italians, but Ireland, they had to dig deep up against the Welsh. I honestly think it's a 50-50. Lilia should have her own rugby channel, says Mr. Marmite. And come with the Sharks, what's going on? And we have got the I Watch Lilia B's channel, says Mr. Marmite. It's beyond me that the Bulls lost again, this Sharks. Yeah, they seem to be very much a different team to the one that made it to the field a couple of weeks ago. Now, quick tap taken by the Lions. That is rather than going for a line out or a scrum. And that's close. Now only 3 meters out from the try line, flattening over. And it's another try for the Lions. 29-0 at the moment, the way it sits. I think the battle for 8th place will be the interesting one. And it always seems to be in the URC. Like last year, it was Ospreys and Lions, I believe, both fighting for that spot. And in the end, the Ospreys getting just enough done in their last game to be able to get it. I hope I will be able to watch rugby next week with the Cyclone off to the coast. Says Heath. Yeah, so hopefully it doesn't hit you too heavily. We'll just quickly show the table again, ladies and gents. Heading into this game, the Sharks had a points differential of 25. So currently, that's going to drop right down to -4. And the Lions, they had -10. They will boost that up to +19, which would then be the 4th best in the competition, only trailing the 3 sides, in the top 3. An extra 2 points, making it 31 now, so that's even 2 more on top of what I just said. Just really nicely done by this Lions team. Absolute dominance by the Lions, says LFG. Yeah, I don't think anyone was predicting this. And they're at the point how they're doing try celebrations. That's how confident they are. The Sharks just haven't given them anything to be concerned about throughout the 61 minutes. Lucanio Army will make his way from the field. That is for Fenta. Now kicked off, nicely taken by Landsberg for the Lions, who have, let's be honest, it's been far from perfect for the Lions as well. They've had a lot of possession lost. This looks like Landsberg's a bit slow getting back to his feet, but they've just taken their chances. And bad day at the office for Plumtree, absolutely, but bad day more so, I think, for the Sharks, because Plumtree's not the one dropping the ball. Yes, like the penalty, some say that sometimes that can come back on the coach, but it's not going well at the moment for the Sharks here, disciplinary-wise. They've got another yellow card with 7.5 minutes remaining at the moment. Now, pal, that's it. I'm going back to 7, says Winmar. Great aerial battle between Edward van der Merwe and Jordan Hendrickson. You can just see the frustration on the faces of the Sharks team, because this is far from what they expected heading into this contest. I looked at the track in the eye of the storm. I will go straight over my school, which is not good for my cricket game on Saturday, says Heath. Yeah, I'd say the chances of that one being played might be quite slim if it's going to be right where the storm is. Rolling it back again here for Grant Williams. Kicked high. This adds very much intrigue for the rematch. It's taking place next week. And now a nice run. That was forward. They will have to go back for it. Frankie Orange not quite able to bring it round enough. That was almost try number 6 for the Lions. They're up to 63 minutes through. They can't because it takes a week to prepare the pitch, says Heath. Because I assume that's not, you wouldn't be playing on artificials at all for those type of ones. Yeah, just the forward pass from the Lions going into the hands of SJ Coetzee. And the cyclone will affect the city, says Heath. Right, referee saying we need to go quicker, boys. Another 17 minutes left in the contest, but it has been a pretty smooth flowing game from the referee overall. Like I said, last week when we covered a game of the URC, it took about 2 hours and 3 minutes to get through the game. It was one of the longest URC contests that we had actually covered. They hadn't included any sort of extra time or anything along those lines. Now ball is fed in. Grant Williams. Scrum has gone down. Sharks in possession. Seem to be really missing Apelele Fasi, Andre Estes, and Ibn Etzebeth Oxnishye, just to name a few. My weekend will be made if the Sharks end the game with a 0. Says Justin next weekend redemption. Says Lilia B. Now kick downfield. Edwald van der Merwe goes up for it, so does Yapinka. Neither man gets a hand to it, but it bounces back onto the side of the Sharks. Now Williams will go for the boot downfield off his left. Bouncing towards the 22. The Lions must be training in Kruger Park to get this good. Kick downfield, touched by a Shark player, so that makes everyone onside, which is why the Lions were so quick to try and steal that ball back. Now Siamasuku gets the offload on the outside. Tiarpenka, this is the chance. Little chip manages to grab it. It's going to be knocked forward though. And Mafura, Siakalisi went for the ankle tap, wasn't able to catch him. And he kicks it down the field. Very good kick. A lot of open space. Won't quite get the 50-22, about 25 metres out from the line. And big bump off from Jordan Hendrickse. Dragged down in the next one. Now Williams. The left-hand side again, South Africa should come back to Super. I would like if New Zealand Rugby join the URC. Says black screen. I mean, we might get to see it at some stage in the future of not so much New Zealand joining the URC, but like a Club World Cup type of situation. Morne Vandenberg back into the pocket to Lombard. And that's going to skid towards the touchline. I believe that's a 50-22. Keeps on getting better here for the Lions. Heard Dad yelling at the TV during the Canes versus Blues game. Apparently the ref was a dud, says Heath. So who was he going for in that one? Was he going for the Canes or the Blues? I assume the Canes. Sharks also training at Kruger Park. Does not do too well for them. You get some bad days like this. Yeah, unfortunately for a side, like I said, sometimes you have a nightmare contest and you just can't do anything about it. Anything you try doesn't work. And, you know, it's just about trying to mitigate the damage. At the moment, this is not where the Sharks wanted to find themselves. They would love a try just to break the naught. He's going for the Canes, says Heath. All right, Siamasuku, he will make his way from the field, and then it's going to be for Yako Williams. Now short, so Yako Visaki, just short. He's almost ended up rolling over the try line. Now around the side, where is this ball? It's going to be held up. He did one too many rolls there, Yako Visaki. Got a bit greedy, thought he was going to be able to score it. Sharks steals for all Lions tonight, yummy. Or Sharks stakes, sorry, I should say. It's just one of those days for the Sharks, says Heath. So Grant Williams considering taking this one quickly. We had this chat last week about the South African teams going back, and it was interesting. Says Fleshin. And yeah, Yako Visaki just rolling over one too many. Grant Williams. In fact, that time might have been Jordan Hendrickse on the halfway line. Chance there for the big man Kwama. And happiness, a few tinnies of lager. Hamish on my iPad and my favourite cheer, thank you. I look forward to this time all week. Says Robert, and the time will continue because we have got Bulls versus Stormers as the next game we are covering. This performance from the Lions is almost too good to be true. Says LFG. Yeah, they've played extremely well in the wet conditions for this match. And Grant Williams, he has been told to use it, so he will roll it back into a position where he can. And that one's gone into touch. Every now and then, the Sharks have one of those days. Where would they fit in a Club World Cup? They have to replace another competition, says Spyman. Although they did say 2026, 2027 is when they're aiming for that Club World Cup. World Rugby have already said about it. But yeah, I agree. It's going to be very hard to squeeze in any sort of extra comp. So I think it was going to be instead of like the internationals or something for one stage. One moment. Club World Cup. Set to be launched in 2028. and in between the British and Irish Lions tour. So a little bit further down the line. Now Nico Stain. Going off to the left here. Lions with possession on the halfway line. Lombard tackled by Jason Jenkins. The rugby sign on is up, or the rugby sign on is up tomorrow, which means rugby season is still nearly here. Yeah, I think we're only a couple of weeks away from rugby fully getting back underway. If the Kiwi teams base themselves in South Africa, it can work. $1 to 11 Rand. Says Wenmar. Nicely taken. Grant Williams goes to Ethan Hooker. There are a few guys for the Sharks who have not had a lack of trying in this game. But like we've said, when you're having a poor day, unfortunately it just seems like you can't quite catch a break. That is what's happening here for the Sharks team. It'll be kicked high. Next time we have a stoppage, we will get to see 15 on 15 again, as the Sharks will be back to their full contingency. Not the best pass from Mafura, but well handled by Edwin van der Merwe as he smacks his face on the ground. I don't want Club World Cup, says Mr. Marmite. Well, they've said they're doing it in 2028. So you got about 3 years to decide that you want it. Or I guess you can just skip that one. Now, 30 metres out from the line. Oh, what is that pass? That was from Kotsia. And now, what a finish from the Lions. I'm sorry, that pass was like a round-the-back flick there from the replacement loose head prop. And that completely just confused my brain. And they do score it with Lombard. They are now 36-0 up. What did SJ Kotsia do here? Round the back pass. Or he almost did it more like a pass and spin the other way. And then Lombard gets the assist, or gets the try, I should say. That's something you don't normally see a big man doing. And we have the Kiwis teams based themselves in South Africa. Oh no, I read that one, didn't I? I was disappointed when Old Bulls, Trevor and Jenkins signed with the Sharks. But now you can see Bulls second string props and locks much better currently, says Eric. Embarrassing score, says Outlaw. Yeah, it is ramping up big time. There is a chance at 50 here for the Lions if they score 2 more tries in the next 10 minutes. These two sides are playing next week, ladies and gentlemen. So a lot's going to have to change in just 1 week for the Sharks side. As you can see there, 1 a.m. on Sunday. But that'll actually be Saturday at 2 p.m. for you guys in South Africa. That is going to be followed by 2 games of the Six Nations, I believe. I think straight after it. And Sonny Bill Williams passed there, says Eric. And what is happening to the Sharks? Unfortunately, like I said, they've had a nightmare. And that nightmare is slowly getting worse and worse. Kicked off high by Jordan Hendrickse. And that one's going to be backwards off the Sharks. Although that ball has popped out on the side of the Lions. If the Kiwi teams base themselves in South Africa, the Box, I would have a hard time winning any World Cup again, says Stahl. Nico Stain. Should mention that the Sharks, I believe, are back to 15. It looked like one of the Lions players was actually tackled by his teammate. Now that one's going to be forward out wide from Manuel Ras, or at least I thought it was. Jordan Hendrickse waiting for that ball. Oh! Richard Creel flips over the top of him accidentally. And Nightmare on Elm Street, says Outlaw. Any dates yet when the Curry Cup starts, says Eric. Not that I know of as of yet. I'll have a quick look. Curry Cup 2025. February 28th is something that's come up. I think that's not so much when it is, but the date that something was written about it. Yeah, no fixtures as of yet, by the looks of it. But there'll be, I assume, somewhere will say what window it'll be taking place between. If the Kiwi teams do move to the URC, then all the New Zealand rugby fans living in Australia are being abandoned, says Heath. Now Lions again in possession. 6.5 minutes left. They want that 50, as it would be a massive statement. Oh, has to get out of there, Vincent Koch, and has done just that. Jaco Visachi again goes back across to the left-hand side. Lions with the wide cut-out pass. It goes into touch, though. And it will now be the Sharks with another line out. To port the Sharks, says Outlaw. And Sharks due to be whitewashed, says Stefan. Now, the big question, though, will be, is this a prelude of what we're going to see next week? Because these two sides playing again, like I said, 7 days' time, can the Sharks find a way of completely turning around their game? Currently, the way that it sits, 38-0 is not even close. If you lose by 15, you say, we weren't very good, but it wasn't the absolute worst game that we could have had. But minus 38 in their points differential, like I said, that's going to be brutal for them in the overall standings. Definitely if it does come down to points differential. Now sitting with a minus 13, drops them down at least 2 spots in terms of points differential if everyone was on the same. And then for the Lions, increasing their points differential up to plus 28. That will put them as the 4th best for differential in the competition. 9 has been told to use it again, that being Mornay Vandenberg, Nico Stain this time, who will roll it back. And cricket is 0 is a duck. What is the term for a 0 score in rugby? I think people say donut for if you get 0 in a game of rugby normally, or just a naught. What is the format of this World Cup or Club Cup? Is it just the winners of the 4 major leagues, or are they bringing in Japanese and Americans? No idea, to be honest with you. Luckily, we've got about 3 years to learn. But, yeah, I don't actually know the gist of it as of yet. But, yeah, it would have to involve a lot of teams, I would think, or else it's not really a World Cup, is it? Looks like no bonus point for the Sharks today. Correct. Yeah, in 4 minutes, they would either have to score 4 tries or score 31 points. Ali B is testing Hamish's knowledge big time, says Mr. Marmite. I'll see a Khaleesi. Tackle, and that's going to be a penalty going against Reniard Yonker. Grant Williams with the tap and go. No advantage and no penalty for the Sharks. Double blow the whistle, and now the Lions will find themselves being down a man. And that is going to be Lombard. Will be very annoyed about it. He is shaking his head. He does not agree. Lilia B should replace Hamish, says Mr. Marmite. As a pure Shark supporter, I have to admit we have been humbled, says Neville. It certainly hasn't been the ideal day for the Sharks, but yeah, fair credit to the Lions, the way that they've come out here in wet conditions too. With the amount of knock-ons that we saw early on, the fact that they were still able to mount a lead at half-time, the way that they did get out Hamish, we want Lilia B, says Mr. Marmite. You like that, right? Says close to the line now. Can they score 1 here? 3 minutes left. Lorenzo Julius. Close to the line. Was almost playing the ball in the breakdown. Are we going to see 1 for them? Now, that's a rough pass, but great hands. Hendrickse plays half again. Lorenzo Julius could have passed it on the outside, but decided to take the run himself. Jordan Hendrickse close to the try line again. See there, Jason Jenkins has his hand up to try and score this one. It looks like they're going to use their locks first. Jenkins wants the pop pass. No, instead they'll go out wider. Good take. Chance here. Khaleesi passes to Ethan Hooker. And the first try of the match comes in the 78th minute. I'm pretty sure there'll be 6 Super Rugby teams, 8 teams from the Champions Cup and 2 teams from Japan. Says Heath. And annihilated, eaten, decimated comes to mind. Says Wenma. What happened today with the Sharks? We started to fast. Says Mohadin. Good finish from Ethan Hooker. He has been working hard throughout this game. finally get something on the board. Lilia B for president, says Mr. Marmite. And now lining up this kick for Jordan Hendrickson, straight down the middle. At least it's not a donut, says Lilia B. And the comeback has started, says Eric. And Sharks avoid the whitewash, says Stefan. At least he does get the assist. I should mention the next game we are going to be covering on the channel. It is going to be happening in around 50 minutes time for the kickoff, but in 40 minutes, in fact, no, 35 minutes is when we are going to be starting that stream, but just 60 seconds remaining now in this matchup. And I'll have to go. I'll have to go. I got work in 6 hours. Have a good one, Amish, says Heath. You too. Bye-bye, poor Sharks. Time to learn to swim again, says Stahl. Awkward restart, nicely claimed by Labuschagne. Runs straight at JC Pretorius. He was actually off the field at one point, so I assume he's come back on either for an injury or maybe he was off for an HIA. Only good player today for the Sharks, says Eric. Grant Williams. He's been all right as well, Grant Williams. Julius, when he's had a chance other than one drop ball, he's made meters. And once again, we'll go with that pick and go. Almost fans want his one-off game. Northern Hemisphere versus Southern Hemisphere. Now nice bursting run from Grant Williams. What a step that is. Gets round Mafura. Offloads up to Kolesi. And that will be the second try of the match for the Sharks. It's going to be after full time though. So they will just have the 2 for this contest. But it's much better than it could have been. And almost fans want... It's a one-off game, Northern Hemisphere versus Southern Hemisphere. That might include a little KO tournament between us all to get there, says Fleshin. Grant Williams, great run. Can't wait for the next match, Ruth. So, yeah, this is going to be starting in around 35 minutes' time, or at least that is when our live stream will be starting up. Score, to be honest, 38-14. Yes, it's pretty one-sided. Yes, there's 24 points difference, but it doesn't look as bad as it did. 38-0 looks not great for the losing side, but 38-14, it could be worse. But the Sharks, the only times able to score was in the final 3 minutes of the contest. They are frustrated. You can see it on the faces of the players. Player of the match, please. Ooh. Player of the match, I think, would either have to go to Edwald van der Merwe. I think he had a great game. Morne van den Berg, he was good. Maybe they could consider Lombard, except he did get a yellow card near the end of the game. And Richard Creel also had a very strong performance. So we are about to find out who is man of the match. Sharks are cooked and all ready for the fish can, says Wenma. I wonder if it is a religious holiday for the Sharks. And we have got their last 2 tries were giveaway tries. Lions simply relaxed. That is true, but still, it looks better than 38-0. And Sharks giving Lions a preview of next week. 2 late tries. The Bulls need to learn to play 80 minutes, says Eric. Man of the match, JC Pretorius. Probably a decent shout too. He had a solid game in the pack. Sharks have the squad to compete with Leinster, says the XRP King. And well done the Lions, says Lilia B. In there as well. And goodbye, says Mr. Marmite, but we are just awaiting to find out who got man of the match for this matchup. Like they've said, nasty conditions, a lot of rain in that first half falling, meant for extremely tricky handling conditions. But in the end, overall, the Lions made it look a lot easier than their opposition. Hey, Robbie, it's great to see you again, and see you guys for the next match. Stay well. All in God bless, says Neville. So, yeah, we will see you all for the next match that is taking place in 30 minutes' time. Right, it's actually going to be Manuel Russ who does get player of the match, but nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all for the next one.